1.4 complex numbers preparation. Complex numbers preparation. Okay, so let us factor this by grouping. So we have 4 terms, so I'm going to break it up into 2 terms and then 2 terms. What we do is we find the GCF of the first 2 terms, 10x squared minus 12y, and we can divide both a 10 and a 12 by a 2. We have an x squared and a y, which means we can't really divide anything else in there. So we say 10x squared divided by 2 is 5x squared minus negative 12y divided by 2 is negative 6y. Plus, we can divide into a 15 and 8, really nothing. We have an x and an xy there, which means we can factor out an x, which leaves us with 15 minus 8y. Now, in this case, this didn't work. Now, if it doesn't work initially, all you have to do is you want to put the ones that have the greatest number of common factors next to each other, and then try again. So for instance, if I just rearrange the middle 2 numbers, like so, you can see that a 10 and a 15 have more in common, and an x squared and an x have more in common. Also, for the second 2 terms, we have a 12 and an 8, so they have more in common, and a y and a y, and an xy, so they have more in common as well. So then we just try it again. So we try to factor a 5 out of a 10 and a 15. We factor an x out of an x squared and an x to the first power. 10 divided by 5 is 2, x squared divided by x is x. 15 divided by 5 is 3, x divided by x, just cancel out. Factor the negative out. And let's say out of a 12 and an 8, we factor a 4 out, and out of a y and an xy, we factor a y out. So negative 12 divided by negative 4 is a 3, y divided by a y. They cancel out. So we say negative 4 divided by negative 8 divided by negative 4 is a 2. And we say xy divided by y leaves you an x. Now, because of the commutative property of addition, we can switch the order of the 3 and the 2x, and then these will match. So I'm actually going to write an extra step. You really don't have to do this because they are equivalent, but I'll write out the extra step just to make sure it's clear that 3 plus 2x is equal to 2x plus 3. And now that you have these matching, then within the parenthesis of 2x plus 3, we can pull them to the front. Right, so those are gone. And then whatever's left over, we put in the second set of parentheses, which is 5x minus 4y. And we finish factoring that one. So let's factor the second 2 right over here. So what can I factor out of a 2xy and a 12? Well, I can factor a 2 out. What can I factor out of an xy? There's nothing else over there. So I can just factor a 2 out, right? So xy plus 6. What can I factor out of a negative 3 and an 8? Nothing. What can I factor out of a y and an x? Nothing. So that would simply leave you positive 3y plus 8y, or 8x. And again, it didn't work. So we want to group them according to the ones that have the most in common. So again, I'm just going to switch those 2 in the middle. So let's say 2x y minus 3y plus, well, let's put them in some kind of order here. So let's say minus 8x and then plus 12. There we go. So let's, so 2xy minus 3y, what can I factor out of both those? A y. And that leaves me to x minus 3. And I factor the negative right here out. What can I factor out of an 8 and a 12? I can factor a 4 out. And that would leave me to x. And because I factored the negative out, I have to flip the sign. So instead of this being a plus 12, so it's positive 12 divided by a negative 4, which gives you a negative 3. Okay, so then I pull the parenthesis to the front. And whatever's left over goes in the second set of parentheses. And there we go.